Kevin had to learn the hard way is we were breaking an unwritten and unspoken rule of show business. And if I say it, you'll know that I'm telling you the truth. The rule is that no matter what you do in your artistic expression, you are never, ever allowed to upset.
They tried to cancel the greatest comedian alive. Netflix employees walked out, Twitter exploded, and the media declared his career over. But Dave Chappelle did not back down. The moment he stepped on stage, next changed everything. Here is what really happened. Dave Chappelle is not just a comedian, he is a cultural phenomenon who turned down $50 million to protect his integrity. That,
particularly when it's a couple of days before an election. But why are we here? Why? You know, that's been the question that quite a number of people have been asking me. Why are you having this hearing? What does this have to do with inflation? What does this have to do with the cost of living? What does this have to do with the everyday lives of Americans, the thing that the Republican Party said that they would focus on if they had control of the House? Why would the Republican leadership and the committee majority give a hearing and a platform to the witnesses today? Specifically to Mr. Kennedy, a man who has recently claimed that COVID-19 is targeted to attack Caucasians and Black people. The people who are most immune are Ashkenazi Jews and Chinese. And before that, in his film, Medical Racism, The New Apartheid, that film stated that COVID-19 vaccines do not work for Black children because of their, quote, kick-ass kind of immune system, that hyper, superhuman, subhuman kind of language. He also said, even in Hitler's Germany, you could cross the Alps to Switzerland. You could hide in an attic like Anne Frank did, to imply Jews and Nazi.
Yes, sir.
Yes, I called that number, and it's been not on the cell phone.
All right, let me give you another number. You ready?
Yes.
470. You there?
70.
Okay, 470. Stand by. Let me see what the rest of it says. 850.
850
1595.
1915
95.
1595. Is that the same company?
No, this is Dry Event Pros. 1595.
All right, I'll give him a call. Thank you.
Yep. This guy.
The dice will rush to cover that they have Mr. Kennedy here because they want to protect his free speech, that they do not believe in American censorship. This is not the kind of free speech that I know of. The free speech that is protected by the Constitution's First Amendment. But free speech is not an absolute. The Supreme Court has stated that. And others' free speech that is allowed, hateful, abusive rhetoric, does not need to be promoted in the halls of the people's house. This Republican charge of free speech is being used by Republican members to promote quasi-science, things such as the replacement theory that says that brown people are replacing good white Americans here in this country. Let's not remember that this country first belonged to brown Native American people. It's a rallying cry for bigotry and hate. There are members of the Republican conference who also frequently suggest that Americans have to deal with COVID rules as the same as oppression of Nazi Germany. Indeed, some have even questioned whether the Holocaust took place. We have staffers who openly follow white supremacy without any condemnation of the Republican conference. Some give it chuckles, slaps on the back, shrugs, all under the mantra of free speech. It's a free country. You absolutely have a right to say what you believe. But you don't have the right to a platform, public or private. We don't have to give one of the largest platforms of our democracy, Congress, this hearing. Our right does not mean that we as Americans are not free from accountability.
Mr. Kennedy, you are now recognized for your opening statement, and then we'll go right down the line. He's going to go a little longer.
Excuse me, point of order. I know that witnesses usually have 5 minutes. I see 10 minutes on board. Is it going to be 10 minutes?
We'll give him 5 minutes, but we're pretty lax with this. We'll let him go for.
We are?
Yeah.
I've seen you gavel down on quite a number of witnesses.
Given senators and former Democrat members of Congress, all kinds
He's
of folks.
neither. He's neither.
I'm just saying in past history.
Okay.
But
Let's just watch the time.
And if you want to cut him off and censor him some more, you're welcome to do it.
Oh, that's not my job. That's your job. Why don't you threaten a witness so that they can not want to be a witness?
Mr. Kennedy is recognized for his opening statement. We'll give him 5 minutes, more or less, and then we'll move to the next one. Mr. Kennedy, go right ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, maybe we could put 5 minutes on the clock then, not 10.
Could we put 5 on the clock and start it running?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I want to start. I want to put aside my written statement for a moment and address one of the points that was brought up. I think an important point by the ranking member, that this body ought to be concerning itself with the issues that impact directly the American people. The rising price of groceries, 76% over the past 2 years for basic foodstuff, the war in Ukraine, the inflation issues, the border issues, many other issues that concern us all as a nation. We can't do that without the First Amendment, without debate. When I gave my speech, my announcement speech in Boston 2 months ago, YouTube, I talked about all those issues. I focused on grocery. I focused on the fact that working class people can no longer afford to live in this country. I talked about inflation, all the issues that deeply concern you, and that you've devoted your career to alleviating those issues. 5 minutes into my speech, when I was talking about Paul Revere, YouTube deplatformed me. I didn't talk about vaccines in that speech. I didn't talk about anything that was a verboten subject. I just was talking about my campaign and things, the conversation that we ought to be having with each other as Americans. But I was shut down, and that is why the First Amendment's important. Debate, congenial, respectful debate is the fertilizer, it's the water, it's the sunlight for our democracy. We need to be talking to each other. Now, this is a letter that many of you signed, many of my fellow Democrats. I've spent my life in this party. I've devoted my life to the values of this party. 102 people signed this. This itself is evidence of the problem that this hearing was convened to address. This is an attempt to censor a censorship hearing. The charges in this, and by the way, censorship is antithetical to our party. It was appalling to my father, to my uncle, to FDR, to Harry Truman, to Thomas Jefferson, as the chairman referred to. It is the basis for democracy. It sets us apart from all of the previous forms of government. We need to be able to talk, and the First Amendment was not written for easy speech. It was written for the speech that nobody likes you for. And I was censored not just by the Democratic administration, I was censored by the Trump administration. I was the first person censored by as the chairman pointed out, by the Biden administration 2 days after it came into office. It ordered a truthful, and by the way, they had to invent a new word called malinformation to censor people like me. There was no misinformation on my Instagram account. Everything I put on that account was cited and sourced to peer-reviewed publications or government databases. Nobody has ever pointed to a single piece of misinformation that I published. I was removed for something they called malinformation. Malinformation is information that is true, but is inconvenient to the government, that they don't want people to hear. And that's antithetical to the values of our country. After I announced my presidency, it became more difficult for people to censor me outright. So now I'm subject to this new form of censorship, which is called targeted propaganda, where people apply pejoratives like anti-vax. I've never been anti-vaccine, but everybody in this room probably believes that I have been, because that's the prevailing narrative. Anti-Semitism, racism, these are the most appalling, disgusting pejoratives, and they're applied to me to silence me, because people don't want me to have that conversation about the war, about groceries, about inflation, about the war on the middle class in this country that we need to be having. And by the way, I want to say this while I'm on the record, that in my entire life, and why I'm under oath, in my entire life, I have never uttered a phrase that was either racist or anti-Semitic. I have spent my life fighting my professional career, fighting for Israel, for the protection of Israel. I have a better record on Israel than anybody in this chamber today. I'm the only person who has publicly objected to the $2 billion payout that the Biden administration is now making to Iran, which is a genocidal program. I'm the only one who's objected to that. I've fought more ferociously for Israel than anybody. But I am being censored here through this target, through smears, through misinterpretations of what I've said, through lies, is the need, this toxic polarization that is destroying our country today. And how do we deal with that? This kind of division is more dangerous for our country than any time since the American Civil War. And how do we deal with that? How are we going to, every Democrat on this committee believes that we need to end that polarization. Do you think you can do that by censoring people? I'm telling you, you cannot. That only aggravates and amplifies the problem. We need to start being kind to each other. We need to start being respectful to each other. We need to start restoring the comedy to this chamber and to the rest of America, but it has to start here. My uncle, Edward Kennedy, has more legislation with his name on it than any senator in United States history. Why is that? Because he was able to reach across the aisle, because he didn't deal in insults, because he didn't try to censor people. He brought home people who were antithetical to what he believed in. He came home almost every weekend with people like Orrin Hatch to our house at the compound in Hyannisport. At that time, Orrin Hatch to me was like Darth Vader, because I was an environmentalist, and I was saying, why is Teddy bringing this guy home? But he knew that he was effective because he understood that comedy and respect and kindness and compassion and empathy for other people is the only way to restore the function in this chamber. But more importantly, today we need to give an example in the leadership of our country of being respectful to each other. If you think I said something that's anti-Semitic, let's talk about the details. I'm telling you all the things that I'm accused of right now by you. And in this letter are distortions, they're misrepresentations of something. I didn't say those things. There's fragments that I said, but I denounce anybody who uses the words that I have said to imply something that is negative about people who are Jewish. I never said those things. And I want to point out also that the chairman pointed to Dennis Kucinich, who's fighting behind me. There is no two people in the country who feel more differently about American politics than these two people. And yet they were friends. Dennis attended his children's basketball games, attended his daughter's wedding. This is what we need, how we need to start treating each other in this country. We have to stop trying to destroy each other, to marginalize, to vilify, to gaslight each other. We have to find that place inside of ourselves of light, of empathy, of compassion, and above all, the Constitution of the United States, which was written for hard times. And that has to be the premier compass for all of our activities. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Now recognize the ranking member for 5 minutes. And I think we'll do ranking member and one more, and then we'll have to take a break.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I know that we talked earlier about a post that Mr. Kennedy had at the beginning of the Biden administration. Just want the record to reflect that that post has not been taken down. So I'm wondering about the extent of censorship when the post is still there. But more importantly, again, I go back to just the fact that we are creating a platform for this kind of discussion, not about the censorship, not about free speech, but the content of some of that speech that we are
5'9" that says they're a Democrat.
There's only one.
I honestly like males under only males like under 5'9" that identify as a Democrat. They're like, I am a Democrat, like 100%. So, exactly.
I'm registered as an independent, and I'm 5'6", 5'7" on a good day.
Exactly. It's a shorter guy thing. I don't know what it is. They just need protection.
I don't know if it's a shorter guy thing.
Have you met one dude 6'4" with a job who's just like, I'm a Democrat?
I would argue it's a gayer guy thing.
It's for bottoms. Democrats it's for bottoms. It is more of a bottom thing. Imagine you're on a date and the guy on a date is like, I'm a Democrat. I just love, I want to chop off everybody's and just fucking put them in my mouth, or whatever Democratic rhetoric is. Democratic Party is for 5'8" and under men.
Oh man.
And then it's for women like over 280.
My fellow Americans, I'm so proud and happy that we have won the victory, and Donald J. Trump is our 47th president. But my friends, I'm here to tell you about Elon Musk, a man of dignity, a man of truth, a man of honor, who has done a lot for this country and the people of this USA. He's a kind soul, a gentle giant, and he loves America. And I want to tell you that the media is a disgrace. They're disgusting. They turn things around. They try to destroy and cause havoc. This, my friends, is a dangerous compare to say Elon Musk is Hitler. I come here to bring you truths. That God is my witness, that Elon Musk is being targeted for no reason, and this false propaganda will stop now. There have been many people who put their arms up. We, the people, must stand up for our truth and remember that the media and the left tried to destroy President Trump and now Elon Musk. But this won't happen because Elon's goodwill for the Jews and for the United States of America will be stronger than this evil. Elon is humble, and he will stand with America and help make this nation stronger with his knowledge and his love. Elon, we love you. God bless.
Breaking today, we get word that CBS News is looking to settle. They're coming to some kind of terms here because they realize that they are on the wrong side of history, if you would, because of what they tried to do in that 60 Minutes report to try to make Kamala look a whole lot better. I remember it. I got the clip.
But it seems that Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening.
Well, Bill, the work that we have done has resulted in a number of movements in that region by Israel that were very much prompted by or a result of many things, including our advocacy for what needs to happen in the region.
But it seems that Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening.
We're not going to stop pursuing what is necessary for the United States to be clear about where we stand on the need for this war to end.
Yeah, that's like the before and after, right? Quite a before and after. So once they edited it and they massaged it, they actually made her sound coherent. Well, now they're realizing maybe that wasn't such a smart thing to do because they were completely misrepresenting her. But that's what they do, right? Like, it's all a facade. It's manufactured news. They don't have any authenticity, any realness. Everything is scripted. Everything is edited. And there you go.
He had actual ideas. Exactly. And the difference is they used to say Obama was a celebrity. Obama became a celebrity because he was great at his job of being a politician.
You know the difference?
That's different. That's a huge difference.
This will get me in a little trouble. You know the difference between the Obama and Harris campaigns was? Obama connected with people, and all the celebrities wanted to do concerts because they wanted to be with Obama, because he was with the people. In the Harris campaign, they went after the celebrities to do the concerts to get the people. They got it backwards.
I'm just saying.
I don't know. Okay, let's be honest here. First of all, one could argue that Obama resonated more because the people chose him to be the Democratic nominee for the presidency of the United States of America, as opposed to somebody backdooring their way into that position. Let's just be honest about it. You had Biden. I know that you supported Biden. Obviously, you spoke about his mental acuity and all of that other stuff, but we all saw what we saw. Before the debate on June 27th, when the debate happened, and by the time that was exposed, you then waited 3 weeks after that before he decided to walk away, but it was too late for anybody else to get in. So Kamala Harris, who didn't resonate during the primaries in 2020, couldn't even get to Iowa, suddenly is the Democratic nominee. And then you roll up at the convention in Chicago, and everybody's like, she's a rock star. So it was like, wait a minute, how that happened? I don't know how that happened. So you're looking at all of those things and you're saying, yes, I voted for her. A lot of people voted for her. But in the end, we end up feeling like damn fools because we supported it. We fell for the okie doke, as they say. You know she did. If you had a primary, the likelihood is that she would not have been the Democratic nominee. And you can't say that about Trump in this side. You can't.
Well, CBS now looking to settle here with Donald Trump. Let me put this on the screen for you. This is in the Wall Street Journal today because you see he's suing them for $10 billion because of that 60 Minutes Harris interview. And that could be problematic. You see Paramount, which is the parent company, again, it's only worth like $8 billion. So this would be a pretty big deal for them if they got hit with a $10 billion suit. Would actually totally put them out of business. They're trying to merge with Skydance, and you see the FCC, one Brandon Carr, who's the newly named FCC chief, he's going to have some say over that, which means Donald Trump is going to have some say over that, which means CBS, you might not want the likes of Gayle King going on and, going on and on about how there's this, that, and the other, and the problems with Donald Trump.
As many of you know, this is my final evening news broadcast. It has been an incredible 5.5 years, and I'm told we have a surprise guest. Honestly, I don't know who it is, to help us look back.
Hey, Nora. Oprah here. Congratulations. You have so much to be proud of.
As many of you know, this is...
And yes, this is the same Nora O'Donnell that colluded with the DNC. The same Nora O'Donnell who famously fact-checked J.D. Vance during the vice presidential debate has just been fired after 5 years in the anchor chair. And it is only a matter of days before Margaret Brennan gets fired next.
But they can't help themselves. They just can't help themselves. It's like a bad habit that they cannot break. They've been doing it for 8 years. Forgive me. 8 years from the moment Donald Trump came down the escalator. At first they thought he was a joke. They kind of liked him. Remember back then when Joe and Mika wanted to have him on the show all the time because they thought it was funny and they thought it would be just so great because he was the easiest candidate for Hillary Clinton to beat. And what did I say at the time? Don't be so sure. Because Donald Trump has tapped into something. That's frankly common sense. As he said up there, that we need to restore common sense in America. We need a little bit of that, right? It's partly why, you know what, I created 76 Research, my financial research company. It is why I created it, because together with investor Rob Horton, we were saying, you know, people are missing out on some obvious opportunities because of this nonsense. And we got to get rid of the nonsense. I mean, fortunately, that's actually happening.
And Trisha's right. Don't miss out on the easiest wins in investing. Think long term. With
on what merit? Oh, you know the merit. We know the merit. We don't know the fullness of the merit, but we know that there is merit to it. That's why they had to do it. Now, I'm waiting for that clip. You know, my wife is busy. She's probably mad at me because she can't pull the car at the garage. I told her, look, baby, just look at your mirrors. It's not that hard. I pulled the car out just right now. So she probably ain't gonna send it to me right away. But Donald Trump, many would argue, did an amazing thing today by pardoning 23 anti-abortion activists convicted under federal Freedom of Access to Clinic Entrance Act. It's called FACE Act. The first person that he commuted a pardon was Bevelyn Beatty, who I disagree with 100%. Bevelyn should have never been pardoned. They should have left her in jail. Many people ain't gonna like me saying that because you've been tricked into the hot sauce. Now, we'll go through other activists. Another one was Lauren Handy, sentenced to nearly 5 years in prison for leading a blockade of a Washington, D.C. abortion clinic in October 2020. Additional individuals that pardon also include activists such as Jonathan Darnell, Jay Smith, John Henshaw, William Goodman, Joanne Bell, Paulette Harlow, Jean Marshall, Heather Adonai. It could be if he said different. Maybe Adoni is how he said. Y'all know I can't read. And then Herb Gonthary. Those individuals, which I don't know exactly what they did, were pardoned by Donald Trump. But I do know that nobody has the right to block a healthcare facility. I don't care what you feel about what's going on in there. Only way you have a way to block it is if your kid is involved and you're standing in the way and blocking your own child for going into a facility to do something that you think they ought not be doing. And Bevelyn was the worst. She had physical evidence of slamming somebody's hand in the door. If you read the indictment, she was threatening people. She went too far, and she did this in multiple states. It wasn't that she was at her hometown saying, I'm going to stand up for what's right. No, she did it in multiple states. She threatened the staff when they told her, please let the people come in this building. I'm going to burn this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and I'm going to shut this mother. And she doing all kind of other stuff. I don't want Democrats doing it, so I'm not okay when conservatives do it. If a Democrat, while a woman is trying to go into a pro-life facility and a Democrat stands at the door and blocks a woman from going in, they've violated the FACE Act, right? The freedom of access to clinics. Even if it's a pro-life clinic, a Democrat or liberal blue-head devil better not stand in the way of women getting access to the treatment that they want. Although we disagree with somebody going and unaliving the unborn, you do not have a right to play God and act like you're going to somehow thwart this woman for doing what she made a decision to do. The way that you participate in helping women make better decisions is offering them a solution. You should be praying for these women before they get there. You should pray for these women while they're there. You shouldn't be blocking access, because what you do is you look like a lunatic to people and they become afraid of you because you're radicalized. And let me tell you this, because I get passionate about this. Don't you take your behind to a Planned Parenthood if you don't plan to support the woman that you're trying to talk to. If a woman is going in to make a decision like that, which we all believe is the wrong decision, in my opinion, I think there's better decisions for you. I'm not finna go and tell you don't go in there if I can't help you with this baby. Some women are in predicaments and situations and they feel like they have no hope. Now, it's easy for you to sit there and say, you shouldn't do that. Well, then who gonna raise that baby? She in a domestic violence situation with a baby daddy, or a baby daddy don't want her. Her mama and them are shaming her. She can't go to church no more because they gonna shun her for having a baby out of wedlock. What do you want her to do? Oh, you telling her you shouldn't do that? Go do it on your own. Don't take your butt to no Planned Parenthood if you ain't got no solutions. The solution would be, if I'm willing to go to Planned Parenthood and tell you don't go in there to do that, I have to be able to give you a resource to say this is what you can do as an alternative. And I will help you see you through this process because I believe that there's a better way. Not one of them make you think that they're a protector. I couldn't even imagine that none of these dudes are married to women. I would doubt it. And it's not an attack on whether or not you want a man on top of you every night. It's just the truth of the matter is these weak, sorry, feckless men that don't have a spine, they irritate me because what they do is they raise other weak men. What kind of parent you think these guys are? And we need to be more compassionate and can't stand it, man. I can't even watch that no more. But these people are delusional. We know they're delusional. They've been delusional from the beginning. To think that Donald Trump is somehow a bad guy, they're even deeper delusional. And I'm glad that they're doing it because y'all will never get back in office like this. There was a reprimand against the establishment and people unanimously voted for Trump, even the popular vote. And what is he doing? Exactly what he said he was going to do. Exactly what we voted for him to do. Now y'all mad. But it's funny that they have these strong critiques for the Democrats or Republicans, but they don't have no critique from Democrats. Joe Biden didn't fulfill anything he said he was going to do. Women are getting raped and killed out here because of illegal aliens. Some of them are getting killed and treated improperly because the coyotes are taking them right over here to the United States of America, promising them stuff they can't deliver on. Many of them have been held ransom and making the family pay more money to get them across the border. Then they get over here and it ain't what they thought it was. Why don't you talk about that? You know what's funny is that all this racism talk, why none of them talk about the inner city violence? Nobody ever talks about inner city violence. None of these leftists will. Do they not matter? Do black people not matter to you? Well, of course they don't. They only matter when a cop is involved. Speaking of cops, let's get to the next story. This police officer, and people wonder why many people have a problem with women being cops. Not only do women do this just more often than men do it on the police department. So this guy is going to get paid a hefty lawsuit payout because all he was doing was cooperating with the police when he was shot in the leg. Now, let me give you some context to it. It says on December the 13th, 20 thing in half, blah, and put it in the trash. I don't play that. My oldest son know I don't play. I don't play that, bro. I'm the man up in here. This is Xi Jinping China. I'm a dictator in my own house. You don't have no rights and rules up in here. I give you what you get, and that's
it usually just presses. There's no button you push to get it open. You press it, and then normally just pops open. Come on, stop playing with me, please, Lord. I gotta get gas in this car. Gotta go to work. Come on. It won't press down. Just don't want to damage it. This is crazy. And the ice. I found this in the trunk. This ice scraper thing. Didn't even know I had it. From one of them dish on wheels from Dish Nation. Now I'm already late for work. My car is on E. I had this, thank God, one of those emergency kits. But how? And this ain't Chicago, so they probably don't have no type of deep ice and nothing. Then when I opened my trunk, all of this fell down in my trunk. So I've been scraping ice out my trunk. Like, this is... And I don't want it to be wet in here. Crazy. What's up? What's up? It is snowing here in Georgia, and you know everybody is kind of panicking. Turn the lights off. So I just drove my Jeep, which is a 4-wheel drive, up the driveway. It is snowing, big snow. And I drove the Jeep up here. I'm from Chicago, so just in case, my wife was like, you can't drive in the snow. The snow's just falling, so it ain't slippery yet. So, especially when you got a 4-wheel drive, you can do things like that. So I pulled it up here, just in case we have an emergency or something in the house. So I'm walking back down my driveway now. Just in case we have an emergency or something and we need to get out. We don't plan on going nowhere, but if we need to get out, and the driveway is slippery, we will walk our asses up the side of the driveway in the grass. Right now it's still, it's still catching. But once it get thicker and it start raining and stuff, it's gonna get slick. And my driveway go all the way down and all the way up. My Jeep is up top over there. So I'm walking back down the driveway because I got to go finish doing the morning show. The Ricky Smiley morning show. So, walking back down. We do these things in Chicago, so I'm used to this. The snow is beautiful. I fucking love it. I love it. I love it. It's one of the things I miss about Chicago. So yeah, like I was saying, if we have an emergency or something, we just, we'll walk on the side of this. If it's slippery, that way we can get up to the Jeep and we have a vehicle up top, because it's going to be hard to get a vehicle, especially if it ain't 4-wheel drive, just period, up my driveway. I'm still walking down my driveway. So as you can see, it goes up and it winds. So I'm walking down the driveway right now. Firm on deck. Being from the shop, you know how to prepare for the snow. I got about 15 bags of salt. Child, it'll take 100 bags of salt for this driveway. Here I come, baby. I'm on my I'm videoing. She's about, who you on the phone with? I'm videoing. No, baby, I don't have to walk slowly. It's not slippery right now. My wife is from New Orleans. And she's like, no, don't drive up there in the snow. She's talking about you gotta walk slowly. It's all good. It feels so good. It's beautiful. I want to eat some snow so bad. I probably will, but I just won't eat a lot because I grew up eating snow. I love snow. But a few years back, I tried to eat something in Chicago when it snowed and I damn near died. I guess because, it looks beautiful and clean, but it's not clean. Oh, it's snowing. It's big snow too, y'all. Look. I go my driveway all the way up and around. Oh my goodness. Hi, beautiful. Get your butt inside. How you feel about the snow? It's snowing. I love when you get excited. Look, the cars. Should I take this? I should take the charger out of the Tesla. Don't want it. It ain't like we're gonna move it, but we probably shouldn't have it in there. The cars is covered. Oh my goodness. Okay, I gotta eat a little piece right off the top.
Because of the potential rain, but we are going to move as fast as we can.
I know what Trump's thinking.
We want you to be safe. We want you to be back in your homes immediately.
But the people are willing to clean out their own debris. It doesn't cost a lot.
Yes, and they can.
You
and
should let them do it because by the time you hire contractors, it's going to be 2 years.
If a family...
The people are willing to get... He doesn't want to wait around for 7 months till the city hires some demolition contract that's going to charge him $25,000 to do his lot. I think you have to... You have emergency powers just like I do, and I'm exercising
Use them, woman.
my emergency powers. You have to exercise them also.
I did. We think within a week.
Listen to this. Listen to it.
That's a long time, a week. I'll be honest. To me,
I'm excited. Clinton Jaws. What I just watched was unbelievable. Please subscribe. And yes, I got my legs crossed.
Evidence, be crazy. That's why I don't get into like these conspiracy theory stuff, because if you have a theory on something, throw it out there, but back it up with evidence. I want to get to this first. Trump yesterday, folks, the winning is just piling up. I mean, Donald Trump is going for it right now. Donald Trump is one of the points I made in the primary when I endorsed Donald Trump early. A lot of people said, I'm going to go with another guy or woman, Nikki Haley or Ron DeSantis. I like DeSantis. I'm not too crazy about Nikki Haley. And they said, because Donald Trump is going to be a lame duck. I said, you are missing this whole thing. The whole point about a Donald Trump second term, number one, he's not really a lame duck. Yeah, he can't run again, but you have J.D. Vance, you have the Trump kids who consider running, Laura Trump. His political dynasty is not over. So he's not technically he's a lame duck, but de facto, he's not a lame duck, right? Second, the fact that he doesn't have to worry about re-election, I told you was a positive, because he's going to go in there like a freaking wrecking ball. And that's exactly what happened. Did you see this video yesterday? Donald Trump in front of all of these WEF, Davos elite, like foie gras eating, the elite bow tie wearing crowd. Did you see Donald Trump just tear up the Bank of America CEO right in front of his face? Folks, this made this an international story, and now people are paying attention to the censoring that happened and the debanking. That's the power of the pulpit. Check this out.
I hope you start opening your bank to conservatives, because many conservatives complain that the banks are not allowing them to do business within the bank, and that included a place called Bank of America. They don't take conservative business, and I don't know if the regulators mandated that because of Biden or what, but you and Jamie and everybody, I hope you're going to open your banks to conservatives, because what you're doing is wrong.
Folks, you understand why this is important? The debanking by a number of banks is a very real phenomenon we all know happened. Don't bullshit us, okay? Everybody knows it happened. When you win the presidency, you have the biggest bully pulpit in the world. Whatever Donald Trump says is news. He's the president. Whatever he said before was news, but not to this extent. You've got bank regulators now who are unquestionably on watch. Like, did this really happen, where people cancel for political reasons, which a lot of people suspect happened? This is the power of the bully pulpit. This is why there is no substitute for winning. Anyone telling you, oh my gosh, we're going to lose this, but it'll build political momentum for next time, bullshit. There is no substitute for winning. The bully pulpit matters. This has now become, if you go on social media, a huge topic of discussion, debanking efforts by a lot of these, what I believe were liberal banking institutions that effed over conservatives. A couple people in the chat said it was glorious. Yeah, it was. Tell it like it is. You're damn right. It was awesome. This is the benefit of having a, quote, lame duck president. He doesn't have anything to lose. The most dangerous people in the world are people with nothing to lose. Here's Trump yesterday, again, same speech, just filleting these global collectivist Green New Deal watermelon policies. Watermelon, yeah, green on the outside, commie red on the inside. Everybody knows this is a scam. Everybody knows this is a proxy for communism. That's where the watermelon comes from. Green on the outside, red on the inside. Everybody knows it. Here he is taking it to the Green New scam. Check this out.
I terminated the ridiculous and incredibly wasteful Green New Deal. I call it the Green New scam. Withdrew from the one-sided Paris Climate Accord and ended the insane and costly electric vehicle mandate. We're going to let people buy the car they want to buy. I declared a national energy emergency, and it's so important, national energy emergency, to unlock the liquid gold under our feet. and pave the way for rapid approvals of new energy infrastructure. The United States has the largest amount of oil and gas of any country on earth, and we're going to use it. Not only will this reduce the cost of virtually all goods and services, it'll make the United States a manufacturing superpower and the world capital of artificial intelligence and crypto.
Now, the World Economic Forum collectivists lost their shit over this. They lost it because folks, their term for all this, their buzz term is collective action. Collective action is a proxy term for globalists. What they mean is individual countries shouldn't act in their own best interest. They should act in the best interest of the globe, collectivist action. Of course, that's ridiculous because different countries have different governing systems. Some of them are totalitarian, authoritarian. The United States needs to take care of the United States first. But because the United States is the richest country in the world, because of our system of our constitutional republic and our entrepreneurial free market system, the collectivists around the world hate us. So they want this leveling equity bullshit where they take all that, they basically take the spoils of our hard work. It happens not just at the individual level where people want to tax, the so-called rich to pay people who don't work. It happens around the globe too. That's what they mean by collective action. I want you to watch this WEF elite here, losing her shit over this. They're in full panic mode. And I want you to listen at the end where she says, hey, the best thing we can do is ignore this stuff. You're going to ignore the United States? Are you sure? Be careful what you ask for. You may get it because your collectivist institutions, whether it's NATO or other institutions for security or energy cooperation, rely on us, not you. Check this out.
One way to look at the Trump administration and what to expect from them in the future is that it is a abrupt reversal of the Biden administration. I think my biggest concern would be a move away from global collective action on pressing problems like climate and security and public health, to name a few. There seems to be a rejection of COP already, moving out of the Paris Agreement, emphasis on carbon-based fuel production and the canceling of the green. So I think this is quite harmful to prospects of international cooperation, and my hope would be that the rest of the world would ignore this rather than learn from it. But if people view the Trumpian moment as something to learn from, then I think we're in big trouble for the world economy.
If they view the Trumpian moment as something to learn from, the world economy is in trouble. It doesn't matter how many people vote for a different new way forward. The collectivists around the world are telling their people, hey, basically ignore this guy. The old way is the way. Don't let it happen. We got to keep the squeeze on these people, folks, and expose them. These great reset crowd people who want this collectivist action bullshit, we're going to expose them at every opportunity. So let me get back to what I was talking about in the beginning of the show, the JFK, RFK, MLK files. Here's a video of Donald Trump saying he's going to release these. I want to discuss a very specific problem with it, though, because Tulsi Gabbard at the ODNI, Director of National Intelligence, has not been confirmed yet. So we have a problem. If you listen to some of the Mike Benz, Mike Benz, our deep state specialist, if you listen to some of his audio on his X feed, he was doing a bunch of interviews, and he was saying that the person in charge right now at the ODNI, acting, is basically a DEI person who is a holdover from the prior administration. So if she's responsible for the declassification, ladies and gentlemen, good luck on what you're going to get. I'll tell you what I heard. I'll tell you what I think they're hiding. And I'll tell you why it matters, most importantly. This is a very sensitive topic for me. Check this out.
Lastly, sir, we have an executive order ordering the declassification of files relating to the assassinations of President John F. Kennedy, Senator Robert F. Kennedy, and the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
That's a big one, huh? A lot of people are waiting for this for years, for decades. And everything will be revealed.
Now, everything will be revealed. I sincerely hope that happens. Folks, the issue we're going to have is the person in charge now, before we get Tulsi in there, is definitely a Biden holdover who has an interest, like some deep state people, one of them being Mike Pompeo. I thought he was one of us. He's not one of us. In keeping these things secret. Here's the question, I believe the big question about the declassification, specifically of JFK. RFK and MLK. Was the government involved in using these people for specific propaganda efforts and manipulating them through CIA folks or other intelligence people? Like I said, when we were in training, we were told it was just Oswald. Not that I necessarily believe that. But I want you to listen to Pompeo. This is an excellent interview. Pompeo was zero interest in getting this stuff out there. He was the director of the CIA, sex state, right? Here he is with John Stossel, who's a libertarian. And Stossel's like, hey man, this is 60 years ago. Like, are we going to release this information or what? I want you to listen to his words very specifically, because he says there are still some issues outstanding, even though it's 60 years ago, that could impact us right now. I think he's talking about some sensitive CIA programs that may involve some pretty significant information. However, we need to see it. It's been 60 years. This is how conspiracy theories flower when the government hides information. Check this out.
Why'd you fight to keep the JFK files secret?
Because I was trying to keep Americans safe. And by the way, don't paint with too broad a brush. 99.6% of the JFK files are public today.
But it was 60 years ago.
John, not everything was 60 years ago. And I don't want to spend a lot of time walking through this, but suffice it to say, the definition of a document covered by this statute that you're referring to, it's a little bit wonky, but suffice it to say, if Congress holds a hearing tomorrow on the Kennedy assassination, the documents generated tomorrow will be part of those files. Those would be tomorrow, they'd be 60 seconds old, not 60 years old. And last thing I'll say is there are things that happened 60 years ago that are still important to keep in the vault. There are lots of things that happened that long ago that still are appropriate.
That to me confirms it, that there is some deeper level of CIA involvement here that the United States government is unwilling to tell us. Is it the CIA's role in the assassination? The answer, folks, is I don't know. My suspicion is probably not. That the CIA, I believe, and we'll see when it comes out, and I'm applying the Bongino rule here, so I want to just be candid with you. I'm speculating. But listening to and having read a bunch of material on this because it fascinates me, my suspicion is that although the CIA may not have been involved in the actual trigger pulling incident, that the CIA may have known more than they're letting on, and they don't want to shock the conscience of the American public by releasing that all, because it's going to basically rewrite history. And of course, there's another theory out there. I saw a couple people on X saying, hey, it's a big nothing burger. They're going to release it and you're going to find out nothing. Personally, I doubt that. My experience with the government is that they don't dedicate an extreme amount of resources to keeping secret if they don't have something to hide. I told you, I remember when I was an agent and I got sent over to Afghanistan, and they brought me in and they was doing elite advance and they made me sign an NDA. It was like we were in this skiff and it was all like deep six and stuff. Like, oh, I'm going to Afghanistan. Obama's going to land in a war zone. You know, make sure nobody knows. Don't tell your wife you're going to Hawaii or something like that for a mission. And I get out in the parking lot. A guy calls me on the phone. He says, hey, I heard you're doing a lead for Afghanistan. What I'm getting at is the government has a really hard time keeping secrets. Why have they exerted so much effort to keep this secret? There is something there that involves the CIA, clearly. And I think it's what they knew and what they let happen rather than what they did. Tell me if I'm wrong. I could be. I'm speculating, however, based on a good amount of research on the topic. We'll see what's up with that. Trump's executive orders yesterday and other actions, though, the winning continues, folks. It was just it's been, since Monday, such a deluge of information. I gotta be straight with you, man. It is really, this is like Jim put together the show last night, and it's like, I'm not even gonna get to half this stuff. Because so much is happening so fast, it's really hard to keep track. One of the things I've warned you about repeatedly, because it freaks me out, is CBDCs. Central bank digital currencies. Folks, if you want a totalitarian society, allowing the government about a central bank digital currency that freaks me out is that the government could implement negative interest rates for the first time. I don't want to get too in the weeds on it, but the gist of it is this. The way to monetize the debt is to implement negative interest rates. And what's a negative interest rate? It's exactly how it sounds. You put your money in a bank, you get a positive interest rate, right? You get a return. What if they were negative? Now, you're probably saying in the chat, right? Michael, you're a smart guy. Well, then there's an easy way out of that. You just take your freaking money out of the bank. If the bank's taking your money every day through negative interest rates, which is what they'd be doing, you take it out. You put 2 and 2 together. If you have a central bank digital currency and there's no paper, there ain't no way to take it out. You could devalue the currency dramatically through negative interest rates and surveil every single person. Unusual whales breaking. President Trump. Again, folks, the winning is freaking ridiculous. There's so much winning this week, it's like hard to keep track of the freaking winning. President Trump signs executive order to ban central bank digital currencies. I freaking love this guy. I love this guy. Can you guys, folks in the chat who doubt me, some of you doubted me, it's okay. You know I love you guys, the Bongino Army. But some of you doubted me during the primary. And you said, listen, this guy's going to be a lame duck. And I told you, it's the greatest gift possible is a president who knows where the bodies are buried from his first term and doesn't have to worry at all about re-election, especially a guy with the balls of Donald Trump. This stuff is all happening. It's almost like impossible to keep track of it all. I'm not even done. We have this broken down into executive orders and other actions. Pardons yesterday for pro-lifers. We have Trump on interest rates. This is the only area I disagree with. I'm not here to be a sycophant to anyone. I'm going to explain why coming up in a second. I love the president. We're not going to agree on everything. He's always been fair to me either way. But this is the only thing I disagree with him on. And again, in the chat, chime in. You think I'm wrong? Tell me I'm wrong. It's okay. I'd love to hear it. Quick break, right back to the show. A lot going on. Folks, if you have a dog, they smell bad or they're itchy, you're going to want to hear from our new sponsor, Coat Defense. Not only pardon the people involved in J6, which was unquestionably a weaponization of government in the process, here he is yesterday pardoning, 23 pro-lifers who were prosecuted using everything from the FACE Act and every other thing. It's amazing. BLM and Antifa, you can burn down a freaking city. Nothing happens to you. You get a $3 million donation from a major blue chip company. But you dare go in front of an abortion clinic, you're going to find yourself in the clink. Check this out.
A set of pardons for peaceful pro-life protesters who were prosecuted by the Biden administration for exercising their First Amendment rights.
Do you know how many?
I believe it's 23, sir.
23 people were prosecuted. They should not have been prosecuted. Many of them are elderly people. They should not have been prosecuted. This is a great honor to sign this.
You see it? I notice this is catching some steam online. My Rock'em Sock'em robots, if you're wondering where the other guy is, he's gone. So he's going to have to fight himself. We threw him on. I think he broke. Folks, this is the way you do it. Rock'em Sock'em. Keep punching. Sorry, it was a little late. I feel good today. I ask you, Mike, do I sound a little like low energy? I'm sorry. I promise you, I feel great. I don't mean to sound away. Just my voice is struggling a little bit from the inauguration fungus. Is that what that is? I'm wondering what this freaking new emoji is because I'm blind as a freaking bat. Is that Rock'em Sock'em Robots? Yesterday, that thing was filtering through the live chat. And I'm like, what the hell is it? I thought it was the Fugazi. So that's Rock'em Sock'em. This is what he's doing. They're still hung up on, did you see the Marjorie Taylor Greene video, by the way? It's on my X feed if you want to see it. They accost Marjorie Taylor Greene up in Congress about the J6 thing. They're still upset about that. And what does he do? He pardons pro-lifers. He keeps hitting them, and he's not letting them get their sea legs. This reminds me, although I don't like Arnold Schwarzenegger at all, obviously he was a fake Republican, but he ran for governor, and this guy wins the primary on the Democrat side. I forget his name, but Schwarzenegger drops like a $6-7 million ad bomb on his head on day one. And the guy can't keep up with it and never really got his sea legs back. This is what's happening with the media now. They want to ask about J6, but then they're upset about the pro-lifers, and then they're upset about the JFK files, and then they're upset about Trump exposing Bank of America. They don't know what to do. The Rock'em Sock'em Robots, I know we kind of F around a lot, but it's not funny. I'm dead serious. This is a real strategy. Again, Bannon, a friend of the movement, calls it the flood the zone strategy. I don't care what you call it. The minute they get upset about one thing, he picks another one. Here is the one thing, because Donald Trump and I don't agree on everything. And let me just say in advance, folks, and I'm not name dropping, so please, that's just lame and stupid, and you sound like a freaking dork. I know the president, okay, not well. We've had dinner a couple times. He was kind enough to invite us to his club, but I haven't been with him a lot. So it's just like reverse name dropping. But the times I have spoken to him, one of the things I always found very kind of endearing about him is there's this rumor out there about President Trump. It's a media-driven rumor, of course, that you either have to agree with him or he is going to isolate you to the phantom zone and you're out of his inner circle. I'm telling you that's total bullshit. I could bring my wife in here as a witness to our dinner in Bedminster when she was just us three, and I talked to him about abortion. We disagree on abortion. It's okay. It's okay. This is the one area I do disagree with him a little bit. Donald Trump wants interest rates to come down. Folks, I think that's a real mistake. I believe me, as an investor, significant investor in Rumble and the stock market, it would benefit me for interest rates to come down because it's easy money for companies. However, I really don't think it's good for the economy right now. We've got to suck this inflation out. I'm not saying we need an interest rate hike, but I don't think we need interest rates to come down right now. We got to dry up a little bit of the money supply. But listen to him. Here he is saying, hey, I'm going to squeeze these guys and we'll see what happens. Check this out.
The interest rates will come down.
You said that you would demand that the interest rates come down.
Well, I would put in a strong statement.
Do you expect the Fed to listen to you?
Yeah.
You know where this comes from? I've had a lot of conversations about this with him. He's a real estate guy, and he's a business guy. And obviously, as a business guy, I'll just ask you a simple question, folks. You're a business guy. You have to take out a $10 million loan to build up a property you renovated. You want to pay 5% interest on the loan, or you want to pay 10%? Okay, thanks. 5%, correct? That's where this comes from because he's a business guy. I don't fault him for it. I'm not mad at him. I just think it's a mistake. If we push interest rates down and inflation explodes, he's going to have a far bigger problem to deal with. Because, folks, as you've seen with inflation, he's like, shut up, right? Do I have to shut up? Tell me to shut up. I mean, am I good? Okay. Folks, is this annoying? I know these economic segments, people hate them. If interest rates come down too much and money starts flooding through the economy again and inflation ticks up to 5-7%, we're going to have a lot big problems to deal with, okay? You don't want to pay $72 for cat food. That's why. The only area I disagree, I think we should stop. I think we should definitely chill on that. Okay, moving on. Here's another thing I would like.
So I'm beginning the actual work, and thank you for joining me as promised.
Thanks for having me, Chris.
Tom, let's look at it two ways. One group looks at what you're doing and says, yeah, this is what ICE always does. His guys rounded up 370 people or so. During the Biden administration, they rounded up 300 something a day. This isn't really that different. How is it different?
Well, look, the arrests are a lot higher than were during the Biden administration. And we're out there, we just started this nationwide operation. And right now, in the first couple of days, we're at over 3,000 criminals arrested. And that's a significant impact on public safety. The thing we're doing different from the Biden administration is we're not holding ICE to a lower standard. Under the Mayorkas memorandum, ICE wasn't able to arrest all the public safety threats in the country. Like you said earlier, they had to be convicted of a serious crime. There's nothing in the Immigration and Nationality Act that says you got to be convicted of a crime if you're here illegally to be removed. You can be removed simply for being here illegally. So we've told ICE to concentrate out of the gate. As I told you in the last show, our focus is on arresting public safety threats and national security threats. That's exactly what we're doing now.
Let me ask you about that. The concern of the Democrats is you're going to round up dreamers and you're going to round up people who have done penny ante offenses, who are otherwise contributing here, and that's too harsh.
Well, look, the number of collateral arrests are going to be higher during this operation for one reason and one reason only, because we're not allowed to arrest the criminal alien inside of a jail in sanctuary cities like New York and Chicago and LA and Portland and the major the target-rich environments where a lot of illegal aliens domicile. They're not letting us in the county jail because of sanctuary laws. If we could arrest the bad guy in the safety and security of a jail, which is safer for the officers, safer for the aliens, safer for the community, then there'd be a lot less of the type, like you just said, low-level offenders. There'd be a lot less of them arrested. But when you force us in the community, we're going to find that guy sooner or later. It takes more time and it's less efficient than getting him in a county jail. But when we find him, he's most likely being with others. And if they're in the United States illegally, they're going to be arrested too, because we're not going to do what the Biden administration said. We're not going to say ICE can't, because the Biden administration, here's your instructions to ICE. Being in the country illegally on his own is not enough for you to effect an arrest. Ignore the law, ignore the oath you took. You need to have a serious crime. There's nothing in the law that says it, so they're going to force us in neighborhoods, and we're not going to tell ICE to turn a blind eye to an illegal alien. They're going to come too. So the sanctuary city is going to get exactly what they don't want. More agents in the neighborhoods and more collateral arrests while we're doing this criminal operation.
Why can't the president, let alone the federal government, has such sweeping, if not complete, or as they say in the law, plenary authority when it comes to immigration? Why are states and municipalities able to keep federal agents out in so-called sanctuary cities?
Well, look, they'll be taking the court real soon. They've already been warned that federal law overrides any local jurisdiction law. So this is going to be played out in the courts because, they got to understand. I said, I don't know if I said in your last show or not. I'm amazed every day when I wake up that there's an elected mayor or elected governor or elected city councilman that doesn't want public safety threats removed from their community. They should be working hand in hand with them. Like when I had my discussions with Mayor Adams in New York, he made it clear, he'll help me with the criminals, but he doesn't want to be an immigration officer. I don't want to be an immigration officer. I want to be a cop working with cops and help protect this community. When it comes to immigration enforcement and the non-criminals, leave that up to me. That's my job and that's ICE's job. But public servants, people elected by the people, politicians elected by the people, their number one responsibility is protection of the communities. So I just don't understand, why not let us in tax-funded jail to arrest the bad guy that you already decided to lock him in a jail cell for obvious reasons? Well, when you're done with him, give him to us, rather than release them back into the community, because where's he going to reoffend? In the very community he lives, the immigrant community. So it puts the immigrant community at greater risk of crime. And I swear to you, if anybody went to an immigrant community and had a town hall and asked them a simple question, would you rather have ICE operating in your community or the jail? They'd all say jail, because immigrant communities, even though they're here illegally, after they get here, they're God-fearing family people. They don't want a predator in their neighborhoods either. So let's work together and get the criminals in the safety and security of the jail. It makes sense.
Also, we've talked about this before, and I know you're dealing with it now, going out, you've been inviting media. The problem's going to have two prongs, right? I don't count the cost one. Government spends so much money on so many things. I don't see that as being a real obstacle to entry on this operation. But the second one is going to be the courts, and that's not us. The lawyers will figure that out. I'll interview them. The third is going to be optics, that you're sweeping up the wrong people, the wrong way, breaking up families.